Well, today we're going to be analyzing what I think about on Lash, and we're going to be going through a game. So this is an Eternus 6 lobby that has, a lot of decently high-ranked players in this one. It's a 32-minute game where I have a good performance, but not, a dominant performance. I'm not like 15-0 or anything. So I always tell people, try to review games where, your performance is not crazy or particularly out of the usual. And I'm playing a little bit of a different Lash build. So in this video, I'm going to talk both about why I do the things that I do, what I think about in real time, but we're also going to talk about the build decisions, right? Why I buy specific items when I do. And there's going to have minimal cuts so that you can kind of follow the thought process of how an Eternus player thinks about these things. The first thing we'll talk about is lane mentality. So going into the lane, especially as Lash, I'm usually thinking, okay, well, I'm not really sure that I'm that strong, especially early, right? So I'm not going to be super aggressive. I tell people usually to be aggressive. My main focus is I'm going to try to clear the wave, see if I can get any denies, and see if I can get an edge somehow, right? So any chance that I get to use my flog in a position that's decent, I am. And here, as you can see, I see an opportunity where Warden probably used most of his ammo to clear the creep wave. And this is something people don't talk about a lot, ammo management, but it does matter in Deadlock. If you notice someone's used a lot of their ammo, or you feel like they have, right? Sometimes you might be able to run at them and you might be able to take a very favorable trade because, they have to reload or they can't shoot at you right away. So something that is a little bit, I would say, underdeveloped in Deadlock is just kind of keeping track of your opponent's ammo management. Now it's kind of hard because they can slide and they can do all sorts of things to extend their mag. So it's very difficult to take advantage of, but sometimes I definitely manage to do so. As you can see, even though I'm not like trying to be super aggressive, I'm still shooting a lot. And one thing is I bought Headshot Booster first item. Now, why I buy Headshot Booster first item is because I always try to, be pressuring my opponent as much as possible. And Headshot Booster is just one of the items that allows you to pressure your opponent the most on Lash. You can see here in this situation, I'm kind of going from the Veil. I hit kind of like a really big parry, which was, it's a classic of like, I just do kind of like an air dash into a parry. For those of you that don't know, if you do an air dash off the ground, so you jump and then air dash, you can also parry at the same time. So you can be parrying while moving. And that's how I got that parry right there. And obviously it's in a situation where a lot of people are not going to be expecting a parry. And here, since I have a lead, because I got a little bit of, I got a lot of damage and I killed the Wraith, I instantly go to their small camp. I notice I can't clear the full thing. So I just clear 2 troopers. And then right away, I'm going to keep money maxing. I know they're going to push the wave in, right? And so I let them push the wave in. I tell my lane partner, hey, I'm going to do some boxes for a little bit. Run a couple boxes. Wraith actually has the presence of mind here to be running at me, which is a good play, as she can do a lot of damage. She actually keeps running at me. Use a hard card. I really want to get those boxes. So I'm like, ooh, let me get those boxes, And, well, Wraith did a good play there. I took a lot more damage than I would have hoped for. I'm assuming in most of your games, guys, the Wraith is not going to have the presence of mind to run at you there. So that was a good play by her, and I had to respect that. Now the wave is pushing into me. And as you can see, I'm going to pause real quick. Despite the fact that I have a significant soul advantage over them, I'm not being aggressive. And it's very important to understand why. It's because Deadlock is a game that ebbs and flows. So I'm going to let it play again, but you shouldn't be aggressive all the time, even when you have a significant soul advantage, because right now what I'm playing for is my next power spike, which some of you Lash players might know, but I'm about to hit it right after this, which is I'm going to have Extra Spirit and Mystic Burst, and I'm also really close to having my second point in Flog, which is going to help a lot. So after this wave, I think I should have it or be really close to it at least, right? So at this point, I'll be quite strong and I'll be able to fight. So I don't quite have the second point in Flog, but I'm basically just like 1 trooper away from having it. You can see how every time I get an opportunity to use my cooldowns, I do. We can see Wraith is like alone here for some reason. Like guys are just not there. So we take advantage of that. Unfortunately, have to back up. We don't quite manage to finish off the Wraith. One thing I want to remind everyone is like, if you get a huge advantage, you don't need to like full commit to it, right? I could have very easily tried to commit to that Wraith there, but she's basically just as good as dead. Like she's 2 HP. She has to either go back to base or she's going to be super weak and we can just kind of pressure her really hard. For example, in this situation, I just parry the tower, fight the Geist a little bit, right? We're looking for the Wraith. We can't find her. As you guys can see, since we can't find the Wraith, we're just like, okay, we're just going to keep the pressure up on the tower. I'm not necessarily obsessed with killing them. I'm just keeping them hurt so that whenever we get an opportunity, we can get a kill on them. That's what my me and my lane partner are focused on right now. So keeping the wave shoved in. Any chance that I get, I'm going to take a trade, try to proc my Headshot Booster, try to use my Flog. They really hurt. And here eventually I missed my ground strike because I just played bad there. Honestly, that should have been a guy skill if I just hit my ground strike. So that's 100% on me. But you can see that at this point, it's basically just a matter of time until like something cracks, right? We've kept them low HP this whole time. We know there's going to be something that's going to happen. So they either have to die. They either have to go back to base or make a mistake. Here we get a gank from a haze, and we're able to clear it. And then my haze kind of messes up a little bit, fails the parry, but it's all good. We still get it. Let me fast forward a little bit, which leads into us getting the tower. Now, this is a very, very, very early tower. Obviously, most games this isn't going to happen. So this was a very good laning stage for us. And then go to the buff. Shiv's already securing the buff. Casting buff. Shiv takes it. I'm extremely mad. No, I'm just kidding. But I would have liked to have that buff. But that's all right. Shiv can have it. He's also playing Spirit. And right away, I'm going to go spend my money. I've got 1,600 souls, which means I can buy my next item, Quicksilver Reload. And now I'm really strong. 2 points in Flog. I have Quicksilver Reload. I'm not exactly afraid of this Geist. In fact, I would love to fight this Geist. And as you can see, I'm going to keep running at her because I know that she doesn't have her ultimate right now. So she's 3.6k souls. And I'm going to pause because this is something I want to talk about. But when you have ult advantage, you really want to take advantage of it, right? So here she's 3.6k. I'm 4.1k. Now, this actually isn't going to work out. And the reason why this isn't going to work out is because me and my Mo weren't on the same page. My Mo here got parried and he was alone, right? So we weren't on the same target and he got parried, and that's okay. It happens, but I still stand by what I did there. I think the principle of play was right. These guys don't have ult. Both Mo and I have ult, right? And so we need to use it before they get their ult. And the timing that we have is very small. It's only one wave. One wave later, they're going to have their ults. And even though we're up on souls, that advantage is much smaller when you don't have an ult disparity, right? So sometimes it's not just about the amount of souls, it's about what those souls gives you. In this case, it's our ultimates. Unfortunately, does not quite work out for us. As I see, my Mo is like, just dies, and now my Mo dying gives Geist assist souls, which gives her ultimate immediately, and then I get double ulted because Mo dying gave them enough souls for them to get a double kill, and then it ends up being disastrous. So I think that's still really interesting to show everyone, just so you guys can see how even the smallest of interactions at a high level can have a massive impact on these things. I go back to the lane because I know they're really hurt. Wraith was kind of overextended. I see that Geist has low HP still, so I pressure that. Now, in a lot of situations, I wouldn't have gone back to my lane, but I knew that they were really, really hurt. And so I wanted to kind of get the trade kills and make sure we keep our advantage. So here, I'm going to gank right away. Now, one thing that I see a lot of people do is they win their lane and then they don't do anything. Now, it's okay to win your lane and not do anything in some situations. Hit a nice little corner boost there. But a lot of the time, you want to try to be active on the map. So here I see Warden. Unfortunately, I don't get anything out of this gank. One thing that I want to highlight, though, is that even if you get nothing out of the gank, it's not like I lost anything, right? I just go back mid, and I can just defend the mid tower. I can do some boxes. I can turn this into a box route. The risk to reward ratio is insanely in favor of ganking in this situation because I don't really lose much. And that's because I pushed the wave before ganking. So I go back mid because I didn't see an opportunity right away. I'm going to push this next wave. And then I'm pretty sure, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the same exact thing. Here we see Geist a little bit. We fight her. I'm not too concerned about killing her. And then immediately after pushing the wave, what do? I gank again. But this time I gank the other lane, right? Because I saw that they were hurt. They're half HP. We're pushing their tower, so there's an opportunity here. And I see them. Very easy kills, right? I go here. We probably would not have gotten these kills if I didn't come to gank. Go for a risky heavy melee. Wouldn't recommend that, but, get the kill anyway. And now we're going to take their tower. And that's a very, very important thing is you want to make sure that when you're powerful, when you're strong, when your lane went well, your impact is not just in your lane. Now, I will add a bit of a caveat to that, which is if you are a hero that likes to farm, like you're playing a Wraith or an Infernus or whatever, what I'm saying does not necessarily apply to you, and you should probably focus on scaling and farming on those heroes and just making sure that you're being as efficient as possible, getting all the sinners, etc. But for any other hero, ganking is possible, and ganking is possible on more heroes than people think. It's not just Lash. Now, here are the sinners spawn, okay? And I want to, change the way that you guys think about sinners a little bit. When I think about sinners, I'm not just thinking about securing my own. If I'm strong, I'm thinking about trying to steal theirs. So here, for example, I hear people in the double sinners. I call it out to my team and I'm like, hey, let's make a play on this. So Vindicta and I are looking to make a play on this. And a lot of the time when people farm sinners, they're really hurt. As you can see there, I get a Wraith kill. Wraith has an 800 bag. Now, of course, it's not always going to work out this way. But I want you to understand that as Lash, or as any hero that likes to get active, it's not just about doing your sinners, it's also about stealing enemy sinners or killing them while they're farming. Killing them while they're farming is really ideal. As you can see, the net worth disparity between me and Wraith is now 2,000 souls at this stage of the game. And the additional thing is you want to make sure you spend all of your money when you do this because you don't want to have a big bag. So here I buy a 1600 item. I buy Recharging Rush. We'll talk about my build a little bit, but this is kind of like a hybrid gun Lash build. We'll talk about it. But, you know, I buy Recharging Rush. I could have bought Mystic Shot, you know, but in a 1600 items, I can spend as much of my money as possible. Go back to clear the mid wave. I see a bit of a fight. I'm going to press F2 so we see my vision on the map. So I see a fight on the left side. I push the mid wave. You see how after I push the mid wave, I feel very comfortable ganking in these situations all the time. I missed my edge boost, unfortunately. Focus on the Abrams. Abrams got parried. And another thing as well is that I'm really strong because I got max flog. So in this part of the game, I'm really focused on being as active as possible, getting involved in as many kills as I can, because this is the strongest that I'll be for realistically a little bit. Because after you get max flog, it's going to be a while before I get another max stability. Because as you go in the game, the amount of ability points that you get slows down. So the more and more ability points you have, the kind of slower it is to unlock the next max AP. Here I buy Healbane just because I'm dealing with Abrams, Geist, Warden, Ivy, a lot of heroes that heal. And so I thought having an early Healbane was like pretty mandatory. And then guess what? I listened to my own video. The last video that none of you guys watched. I'm just kidding. Some people watched it. The Earn video is very important. Doing the Earn is critical in these situations. My team has an advantage. We're up 4,000 souls. So I'm not afraid to just do the Earn. Push it forward. I'm not necessarily going to try to force it in, right? I see Abrams and Holiday are looking at me. So I'm just going to, you know, try to sneak past them. Then I'm going towards the Earn. So I see 2 people are mid and 2 people are left side. What that tells me right away is that, okay, I don't know if they're contesting this Earn, but we should definitely be able to have numbers. Now, I don't like that my team is still mid. So here's what I do. I'm going to pause. I knew that it was a 2 versus 2 in this situation because I saw somebody else on the map. Given the fact that it was a 2 versus 2, I didn't feel comfortable trying to run the Earn in because the last thing that I want to do is give them the Earn. So I wait for my team to come from mid to the Earn because I know we have a numbers advantage because 2 people are split pushing. So I'm just going to sit on this rooftop here and I'm going to wait for it to be safe because as some people commented on my short video, the last thing you want to do is deliver them the Earn, right? So here, the Earn is safe, secure the souls, melee them, you know, don't really worry too much about that. And here, since I'm already here, I see both of our towers are being pushed. I'm not going to be able to get there in time to do something. So I'm more trying to push this Guardian instead. Going to try to go past the Guardian, kill this Warden and Wraith, I believe. I could have honestly ulted the Wraith there, but I didn't want to take the risk. So I didn't think I could catch them with my ult. I wasn't 100% sure. In retrospect, I definitely could have ulted them, probably, and it would have led into maybe 1 kill. I think Warden especially I could have killed. Wraith, I'm not so sure if she could have TP'd after my ult, but Warden, definitely I could have killed, and he's 11,000 souls, so it most likely would have been a worthwhile usage of my ult. Go back mid, because some people are caught. My Mo ults someone. I wait. Always, you know, if they have no stuns... Oh, yeah, this was funny. I sent him on the jump pad, and he kept being stunned while on the jump pad. Anyway, that wasn't planned, but... when you're channeling your ult as Lash, right? If they don't have a stun or a knockdown or whatever, you should always keep it channeling unless the person is about to go around a corner. And the reason for that is because you don't know, you might be able to catch somebody else. And when I was newer to Lash, like not really new, but when I had 300 or 400 games, very often I didn't do this. And it prevented me from getting more people than I could have. One thing you'll notice is that the moment I have enough for my next item, I always buy it, right? How many times this game have I held onto any souls? Pretty much 0. The moment I have enough for my next item, I buy it. Now, of course, there's times where you're not going to be able to buy right away, but always try to spend your money as much as possible. Here, I'm just kind of skirmishing. This doesn't really have a purpose. I'm not really in a great position, so I use my grapple to get out. Sometimes using grapple forward rather than backwards can actually help you juke enemies. And, okay. Rank 1 Lash, by the way. Don't worry about that. And obviously Wraith sticks around more than she should. I type a little thanks in the chat to thank her for her contribution to the Lash's net worth. The Lash is very grateful for that. Just a little banter. And I keep skirmishing because I'm very strong right now. I get lassoed. But as you'll see, a lot of my skirmishing is done in situations where I know that we have some sort of advantage on the map. For example, the skirmishing mid, my Mo has ult, and we had numbers advantage, right? I had just killed someone, I had just killed Wraith, and my team is up 10,000 souls. So I'm just looking to press the advantage. I'm always going to be looking for skirmish, but I'm not full committing either, right? I'm just looking, okay, can I start something? And if you'll remember, the way that the Wraith kill started is because I went aggressive on the Ivy and she was farming. So I'm trying to make sure that they don't get any resources for free right now, okay? So here, I see this right walker. I'm like, okay, I want to pressure this a little bit. I tell Hayes, hey, I think that we can actually pressure this. I see Geist is farming, right? Hayes tells me there's someone on this camp, so she calls it. She ults the guy. We kill the Abrams. Now that we have this Abrams skill, you see on the rest of the map, there's 2 people showing. And so I feel pretty confident that we can do this. My Hayes hits actually like an insane parry, which somehow lets us kill the Warden. Now that Warden definitely should not have died. And here I'm going to just focus on getting the Walker rather than getting away, because I believe that dying for this Walker here is fine. If I'm the only one that dies for this Walker, I'm okay with it. I think we actually end up losing 2 people. I'm not sure. Actually, I think it's fine. We only end up losing. I think my ship actually cleans up. I can't exactly remember, but at that time, I remember I was fine for dying for the Walker. Dying for the Walker monetarily isn't actually that great a play at that point in the game. If you look at the souls before and after I killed the Walker, you'll actually see that it doesn't really benefit me that much to kill the Walker. However, you do get a little bit of map pressure, and it does open up that side, and it also gives us a flex slot. So nobody's really slot locked on our team yet, but it's nice to be able to just, kind of get that first Walker. But souls wise, it wasn't really optimal to die for the Walker there. Now, 15 minutes. I believe that this urn is very, very close to comeback. So one thing I want to put attention to, right? When the urn is this close to comeback, so the way that the comeback urn is calculated is it takes the winning team's net worth and takes 10% of that. Right? So here, in order for it to be a comeback urn, it needs to be a 10% difference between these 2 teams. So we have 90,000 souls, which means 10% of that is 9,000 souls. So they need to be 9,000 souls behind us. Right now, they're 8,000 souls. As you can see on the minimap, it's an even urn. But if we get even 1 kill, or if we just farm more than them, it could become a comeback. In these situations, it's very crucial to pick up the urn as fast as possible. So I really hope I go to it here. Luckily, I'm going to it. I would have looked a little bit silly if I didn't go to it. So I'm going to it as fast as possible. Shiv's already there. Picks it up. It's an even urn. And right after that, we kill Geist, by the way. Which means that the urn would have become a comeback like literally a second later. That's how important it is to pick up the urn on time when it's on the verge of becoming comeback. If you don't do it, it could become a comeback urn for them. And then you either have to wait to pick it up, or you pick it up and then you have to go deposit it on their side. And that's their best chance to flip the game. The 15-minute urn is incredibly important because it's an urn that allows you to snowball your lead further, or it's an urn that allows the enemy team to come back into the game. I would say it's one of the most important urns in the game, especially at a high level, because that 15-minute urn can really like flip the game one way or the other. And if we get this urn, it's going to be really difficult for them to come back, although not impossible, right? So even urn, we're kind of going. They're giving it to us. They don't really feel like they can do anything. I wouldn't see anyone, so we just kind of go for it. Ivy goes for some denies, so I run at the Ivy so we can, so she can't deny anymore. Do a lot of damage. Use a stone form. Holiday's fighting me. I get an ult. Unfortunately, not exactly a great ult for me. In retrospect, that was definitely a mistake of an ult. Like, definitely should not have ulted there. As you can see, I'm always going to reset the high ground between combos on Lash. This is something I see so many Lash players don't do. Like, in between my abilities, I'm always trying to reset the high ground. Here, they're still kind of hurt, so I'm chasing a little bit. One thing that this build has that a lot of other Lash builds don't is since I have recharging rush and 2 points in grapple, I can fly around a lot because I have a lot of grapples, right? So the movement might not be, something that you can... Oh my god. Rank 1 Lash, W, good slam. The movement might not be something that you can do on other Lash builds. One thing I want to add as well is you can see my next item is Siphon Bullets, right? Now you might be like, why is Siphon Bullets your next item? So the reason why Siphon Bullets is my next item is, one, they have a lot of high HP gain heroes. So Abrams, Geist, and Warden, for example, have a lot of HP gain. As you can see, Warden already has 3k health, which means Siphon Bullets against 3k health right now is going to be doing something like 75 damage per hit, which is really, really good. Two, if you want to scale Lash's gun damage, you don't really have amazing ways because fire rate doesn't work well on Lash's gun because it's a burst fire gun. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, burst fire heroes generally get somewhere around half effectiveness from fire rate items just because of the way that fire rate works on burst weapons in this game. It's not explained anywhere. It's not written anywhere, but I promise you it's real. So if you want to scale Lash's gun damage, you need to either scale weapon damage or you scale shred. Or you can buy something like Siphon Bullets, which is not affected. Additionally, Lash's gun doesn't do that much damage by itself. A lot of it is carried by the 2 points in his second ability. Anyway, I'm fighting this Wraith here. She's trying to get the Walker. I believe she does end up getting it. Nope, never mind. She does not get it, so this is worst case for her. So defend the Walker. I get a solo kill. One thing I'll say about solo kills as well is they give a lot of money. Here I'm being very careful not to go into the Warden, right? Because I know if I ground strike into the Warden, he's got max cage. He's just going to max cage me, and I'm not going to be able to get away because I won't be able to grapple. So I just wanted to harass him a little bit, back up, and I'm going to go spend my money immediately. Now, the only reason I go back to base to spend my money, and you could honestly argue that going back to base is a mistake here, is because I'm a little bit hurt and the base is right there. However, honestly, you could argue that going back to base was a mistake and I should have went to the side shop and stayed active on the map. Now, if you're ever in a situation like this, you've got 15,000 soul lead, 1842 in the game, right? You're wondering, what should I do? Well, the main thing that you really want to do at this point is try to find an angle to do mid. That's the most important thing. The next turn is a comeback turn for them, guaranteed, right? Unless we die unless we lose with a bunch of people, right? We feed a little bit. It's going to be a comeback turn for them. So here they got a walker, which actually makes it so maybe it's not going to be a comeback turn. But our main priority at this point should be to get a mid boss. So anytime that we get a fight that is, severely favorable for us, we should look to do mid boss. Even 1 or 2 kills can be enough. We just have to get the right kills. So any opportunity to get mid boss, I would feel pretty good about. We're fighting here, fighting the Warden. Siphon Bolts is really good against Warden, so I don't feel too bad fighting him. I get a Lash ult right onto 2. So I don't ground strike right away because I was fearful of abilities. So I'm gonna rewind a little bit just to talk about this because a lot of people ask me why I don't ground strike right away. I'll show you guys. So here, I could have ground striked right away and maybe it would have been fine. Oh, actually, I didn't even have it. Never mind. Well, okay. I'll talk about this anyway. I didn't even have ground strike, so my bad. The replay I thought showed me I had it. But if I had ground strike, sometimes it's good not to ground strike right away because they'll use abilities that might be problematic for you. Now, against Warden and Holiday, you can pretty much ground strike and you'll be fine. But against some heroes like Ivy, Ivy is going to stone form right after you ult her. So you might want to wait for the stone form and then ground strike. That's just an example. All right. But in this situation, I just didn't have it. It's just the replay showed me as having it. So I got baited. That's my bad. Anyway, we get these kills. I remember telling my team like, hey, let's just go mid boss. I'm pretty sure. I was actually kind of like, not happy about my team still going for more kills. But yeah, I tell my Haze right now and I tell my Drifter, I'm like, hey, guys, let's start mid boss, right? Let's make sure we do it as fast as possible. Even though buffs and urn are spawning in 8 seconds, and that might seem very important, mid boss here is obviously more important. Mid boss is the most important objective in the game. If you can ever get it, you should. And obviously learning when it's possible versus when it's not possible will come with experience. So here I stagger my parry. So one thing with mid boss, especially at higher levels, is that a lot of people will parry on top of it right away. So one thing that I did there is I staggered my parry just to make sure that we wouldn't get denied. So I made it so that I didn't parry right away. I waited for the first round of parries and then I did my parry to catch any like late melees that may not have been caught by the first parries. I'm going to pick up the casting buff, and I know that the main way they can come back into this game right now is by getting the comeback urn. So I'm going to clear this wave and then I'm going to pick up the urn. And the only reason I clear this wave is because I have the luxury to do so because they're dead. A lot of them are dead. And we have Rejuvenator. If we didn't have Rejuvenator and I was afraid for my life, I definitely would not have cleared this wave. And I would have prioritized just picking up the urn because that's their best way to come back. Now, my Vindicto gets caught, which is quite bad. So in this situation, I'm not really like looking to rush the urn in. However, I still want to apply the map pressure of having the urn on that side of the map, right? So I still want them to feel like I could go for the urn fairly quickly, but I don't want to be so forward that they can come get the urn off of me, right? So here, I'm just trying to be efficient while our Vindicta is still dead. I'm going to wait for her to respawn before I go for this. I don't see a lot of people, so I'm kind of like wondering if they're running at me in the jungle, so I'm playing a little bit more defensively. I see a fight on the left side, which makes me feel a bit more comfortable, and I also need to spend. Now, I buy Transcendent cooldown. The reason is because it works with Siphon Bullets. Okay, so obviously cooldown's good on Lash, but having it with Siphon makes your Siphon also significantly stronger, 25% stronger, so which is a great way of scaling it. So get the urn because my team is fighting mid. Fantastic. That urn matters a lot. My Drifter is deep. I'm fighting. The grounded Lash ult, classic. Actually saves my Drifter. Here I go for a little bit of a chase on this Holiday. I'm only able to do this because I have Recharging Rush here as I use a lot of grapples. So without Recharging Rush, this chase would not have been possible. But I do end up catching the Holiday. I wouldn't recommend you do chases like that at home. It was a bit of a limit test chase. Like I was pretty confident I could get her there and that I would be able to finish off the kill. Now, we still have one Rejuve, and so it's very important that we get at least Base Guardians. Ideally, if we can get one Shrine, that's really good, but we don't have to force it. But Base Guardians is like bare minimum we want to get that. If we can get one Shrine, that's also really good. So here my Shiv is like calling like he's cutting people off, and we also really want one Shrine. We're gonna go to their base. I'm kind of chilling. I can be like very aggressive with this build because I can get a lot of health off of Siphon Bullets. As you can kind of see, I'm just shooting the Sabrams. The Siphon Bullets thing on the left side of the replay is not active. Now, I definitely overextended. Wraith capacitors me, and then I believe I get Wraith ulted and everything. I get Wraith ulted and caged, so I definitely just die. I definitely went too deep, and I should have focused on the primary objective, which is getting the shrine. And I died for my sins. So it's a reminder for everyone that if you fly too close to the sun, you will get punished for it. And I definitely should have simply went for the shrine there. And I go for the Divine Barrier because I'm like, okay, I'm going to get Wraith ulted, but other people might also get Wraith ulted. So if I get Divine Barrier, I can use it on myself if I need it. But I can also use it on others. So it's it's kind of a greedy purchase, right? Because the 100% safe purchase would just be to buy Unstoppable. So that way, if I get Wraith ulted or Ivy Stone Formed or anything like that, I can just Unstoppable through all of it. Or even if I get Phantom Strike, Abrams Charge, for example, later in the game. But I kind of took the greedy option because we're winning. And I'm like, what if I get a chance to save my Vindicta or save my Haze or save this other hero with it? And, obviously it's a really good item with Transcendent cooldown as well because it has a really short cooldown. So that was kind of my reasoning behind Divine Barrier. So now it's like, what do we do now, right? We're up 20,000 souls. We're in a great position. We're actually up a little over 20. We're up more like 25,000 souls. So what do we do? Well, the next objective is in 40 seconds. So always think about the next objective, right? Here in this situation, these players are just really, really deep. I get lassoed. In retrospect, this was definitely overly ambitious by me, and I should have been punished harder for it. However, I kind of managed to keep them here just long enough, and we managed to kill the guys, which is great. So looking for kills is great, but always think about the bigger picture. So here I'm like, buffs are spawning in 20, right? What can we realistically do with this guy skill? We probably can't do anything. Mid boss is in 216. One thing that we can do is we can pick up the buffs. So here, I see that my team already has control of the right buff. This is the only reason why I'm farming this camp. Now, you could argue I probably shouldn't be farming that camp and I should be doing something that's going to progress the game in some capacity, right? And here there's a movement buff, so I'm going to buy. Get Divine Barrier. That's the reason I farm this camp as well, is to get me enough souls to get my item. But the urn spawns on this side. So for those of you that don't know, when the time is an even number, so for example, 20 or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, that's an even number, it spawns on yellow. And when it's an uneven number, so 15, 25, 35, it spawns on green. And so I knew it was going to spawn here, pick up the urn, gonna run the urn. And here our goal really is, we don't want to force this urn, but if we can take a good fight, we probably want to. Because we're up 23,000 souls. Now, in most situations, if you're up 23,000 souls, there's a fight that happens, well, you should be able to win that fight. Now, not always, right? But this fight should be favorable for us, which means we should be willing to take it. As you can see, I'm taking a very safe pathing with the urn because I'm not really trying to force this urn. I want to make sure the map is favorable for us. Now, you see the right wave is pushing in, so they either have to deal with this or this right wave is eventually going to crash, and we have a full zip line here on this side. Now, I see Geist is very deep. I'm not really trying to worry about it. Right now, I'm not even looking at my screen. I'm just looking at my mini-map, most likely, right? And so I don't clear this wave. I see my team is going on Geist. I'm wondering whether I should drop the urn right now and fight, but I don't feel confident enough in the fight to drop the urn. I'm kind of waiting a little bit. Now I heard, okay, Geist swap. Now I remember specifically what I'm communicating to my team right now is fight outside. I now understand this fight is more important than the urn because mid-boss is spawning in 30 seconds. The urn does not actually matter that much. The fight matters way more. If we lose the fight, we lose mid-boss and we lose the game. I know it might seem like we have a huge lead, but if we lost this fight, we truly would have lost the game. So, spoiler alert, we don't lose this fight. Now, I'm telling my team, hey, please come fight outside. Like, I really can't fight there. So I'm like telling them to fight outside. And also the thing you'll notice is I'm not forcing the fight inside, right? I know I can't fight inside as Lash there. I know it's bad for me. So I'm letting them come outside and I'm going to see what I can do. And here I get two people right into the Haze ult. Obviously, that's going to pay off big time. So, don't force the fights when they're bad. If your teammates are fighting in places that are not good for you, wait for the opportunity on Lash. And a lot of the time, it will come to you, right? So they kind of like got baited into chasing outside, into a big Lash ult, into the Haze ult. And now we clean up, mid-boss spawns. And, of course, we're going to go get mid-boss here. So I'm going to fast forward this. I don't think you guys need to see me get mid-boss. I remember going outside a little bit because I saw my Shiv was fighting. I have Divine Barrier for him. So I was like, hey, I'm going to be able to help you. I'm going to fast forward the mid-boss here. But we kind of do this. This guy comes in. He actually takes one rejuve, by the way, on Holiday somehow. All we needed to do is really just stagger parries once again. So he definitely should not have gone to rejuve. And now we're up 20,000 souls. And in these situations, you always want to think about what do you want to do, right? So our primary concern here is we have rejuve for 4 minutes. Now, a little bit of rejuve theory. When it comes to mid-boss, and I'm going to make a video about this in the coming weeks, what you want to do with your rejuve is your rejuve lasts 4 minutes. And therefore, you want to use all 4 minutes if possible, right? Because having rejuve kind of passively gives you map control. It makes it so the enemies don't want to fight you because every fight that they take against you is disadvantaged. So they mostly are going to stay in their base and play a little bit more passively, right? Given that, you really want to use all of the time of the rejuve. So what are we going to do? Well, in this situation, what can we get that gives us a lot of money? As you can see, there's really no farm on the map. However, you have to think one step ahead. It'd be really easy here to be like, hey, there's no farm on the map. Let's just go, push their base. But what we can do instead, well, first of all, here we catch a guy's out of position, but let's imagine that this guy's pick had not happened, but it is going to happen. Let's just kill her. I think she'd given up a little bit, but let's imagine this guy's pick had not happened. What we're concerned about is getting the next advantage, and the urn spawns in 40 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that the communication at this stage is like, hey, let's get the urn, let's get the buffs, buy, and then push their base. Now, I don't actually remember whether we actually do that or we just go right now because we got a guy's pick. But from the looks of it on the map, it looks like we're still focused on the plan, which is getting urn, getting an overwhelming advantage, spending all of our money, and then going, right? So not really going before we get the urn and we get the furthest advantage. So here I remember saying, I'm going to push one more wave and then I'm going to, back up a little bit. I can't remember if we get another pick. We might actually just get another pick and end. But I would still be completely fine with getting this urn and doing it. In this situation, they actually go for me, which I don't think was the wisest thing. Because they get caught outside their base here, and we don't have to go for the urn. So I was talking about the urn, all that stuff, but doesn't really matter when you're in a situation like this and they kind of just, give you a bunch of kills. Now, in that situation, I did exactly what we were talking about, which is I held my ult the whole time because I knew they didn't have a stun to stop it. So I held the channel, right, and made sure I got as many people. And as you saw in that situation, it got me an extra person. And here I do the same thing that I did earlier, which is I go to their spawn like an idiot and I die. So don't do that. Do the thing that is winning for your team. In this situation, that should have been a guaranteed win for us as we still had one rejuve and we should have been able to end. But once again, I flew too close to the sun. This game, I have, 4 deaths and 2 of them are at their spawn. Just, going straight to their spawn. So don't do that. I would advise against that. I do believe my team actually cleans this up. I'll put it on the Shift POV because he did have a really good game. So I'll let you guys see the Shiv POV as the ending of this game as Old Haze just, spins around like a Beyblade and kills everybody as Old Haze does. Everybody knows about that. I feel like with Old Haze, we go through these cycles where it's like Old Haze is terrible or Old Haze just like kills everyone. And every time every time you have like the Ricochet Old Haze being, playable, a lot of people don't have fun against it, myself included. So, I guess post your compost, and if you got all the way to the end of the video, post in the comments how you feel about this Old Haze, because I think most people just think it's not really fun. But I guess it is fun as the Haze, so that's always an argument. But I don't know if her ult should target multiple people, because then when you get Ricochet, it just does like a ridiculous amount of damage, and it becomes a little problematic. But regardless, we ended up winning the game despite my blunders. So shows you that sometimes you don't need to make everything. So if you guys want me to do this more often, put it in the comments and, show some love for this video, like, subscribe, whatever it is. And I'm down to do this, once every couple of weeks. Thank you for watching.